Hey, what's going on, guys? TayJay Productions here, and today I'm in Shelbyville, Indiana to visit some dead retail locations. I do have a few here in this little town that I think are pretty interesting that you guys will enjoy. The first one is actually right in front of me. This location right here that's now a fireworks stand, or at least was, because it's not open right now. This used to be a Radioshack. And let me show you, here's what it looks like now, and here's what it looked like when it was a Radioshack. So this was a location that closed down sometime after 2014. That is the latest date I could find on Google Images of when this was a Radioshack. But now it is a firework store, and let's go take a look to see if any Radioshack stuff remains in there. I'm gonna guess not, but we're gonna peek through the window real quick and see what we could find. Okay, let's take a look in the window here. Okay, so this was a smaller location. Those kind of look like Radioshack displays. I can't remember, I'm just based off of memory here. The silver and red kind of is reminiscent of Radioshack. I wish I could tell you for sure if these are Radioshack displays or not, and some of you might be able to tell me. I'm gonna bet that, honestly, I'm gonna bet that they probably were. Sometimes these places, when they close down, they'll leave some of their fixtures. But this was definitely a smaller store. And that's pretty cool. Yeah, Radioshack, they closed as a business, but now they have like dealers who use the Radioshack name in their electronic parts stores. So you might still see Radioshacks around, but it's not an actual true Radioshack anymore. But it's still cool to see the name up on company buildings and store locations. Well, as for this location, that's about it there is to show here. I'll check the back real quick because sometimes the name of what it used to be is still on the back door. And man, you gotta think, I kind of wish this banner wasn't here to see if we could see the label scar, but unfortunately we won't be able to see that here. Well, if it did used to say Radioshack, it doesn't now. So unfortunately that is no longer there, if it ever was. All right, let's go on to our next location. Right over here off of State Road 44, we have a King Gyros, which most of you might be able to just tell me what this used to be. That's right, it was a Long John Silver's, and it still has that classic Long John Silver's look to it. Now this location is occupied, so I'm not going to be able to walk up and view the location, but we can get a pretty good eye view from where we're at here. Pretty neat though. I notice it doesn't have the little thing like right up here at the top, but Long John Silver's used to have this classic building design for all of their locations, but recently they've been going through a remodel, a modernization that a lot of fast food chains have been doing, where they kind of make their buildings look like boring, bland boxes. So characterless boxes when they used to look fun. The reason they do this is so if the location does close down, it's a lot easier for another business to move into it without it looking like anything weird. But yeah, I don't know, it's boring to me. It's all about getting rid of character and putting more comfortability and practicality into your buildings. I don't know. The character is what makes it feel like home. Otherwise, every place you go to is just going to feel the same. And I think Long John Silver's really had something going for them when they had this building design. I mean, you look at that building and you recognize right away what it used to be. When I was in Anderson, I found one of these that still had the classic yellow and blue colors, and it was abandoned. So it was a very interesting look at a classic Long John Silver's building. Do you guys like Long John Silver's? Driving around the building, the drive-through would be in the back there, but there is no drive-through anymore. Well, actually there was, but they moved it closer to the front, if you guys saw earlier. Now, right on the other side of the road of that King Gyro's, former Long John Silver's, is this former Golden Corral. Now sits vacant, but this was at one time a Golden Corral. For those of you who don't know, Golden Corral was a buffet chain, and I feel like most of them looked bigger than this. I'm not sure if my eyes are just deceiving me or what, but there's your store hours. Well, there will be no all-you-can-eat here anymore. It actually looks like this place was a Heritage Automotive Group, so a car dealership of some sorts, and that's probably what those store hours are from. But they moved out. But before it was that, this was the Golden Corral. And here's a picture of what it looked like when it was a Golden Corral. A classic restaurant that is in all sorts of states around the country. A place that I used to go to a lot back in the day, not so much anymore. Getting more up close and personal here. And I'll bet you it looks pretty different in there now. Let's take a look real quick. They probably gutted out the kitchen and all that. Added some new rooms in here. Oh yeah. Looks a lot different in here now. Yeah, the outside is still recognizable as a Golden Corral, at least for me. But the inside, they completely changed it up. So, here's the back side of it. They definitely did a lot of remodeling. No sign that it was a Golden Corral. But that's it for this location too. So, that's 2 locations in this building that did not survive, unfortunately. And such is usually the case when it comes to this kind of stuff, because supply and demand changes over time. I know internet shopping has really killed a lot of brick and mortar stores. In this case, this is a restaurant, so it's a little bit of a different story. Golden Corral, I guess, just isn't as popular as it used to be back in the day. Now, this one I think is really cool. This is Midwest Eye Consultants, but you know what it used to be? This used to actually be a Sears hometown store. And when I found that out, I was like, what's a Sears hometown store? It's actually a Sears retail chain that operated in smaller rural towns. And so they focused on more appliances and lawn and garden and type stuff like that. Here's a picture of this location and what it used to look like. So cool, and I wish I could have come here and actually seen it with my own eyes. I always thought Sears was a cool store and it had its own little vibe to it. And Kmart actually owned Sears. So Shelbyville, a lot of these locations that I'm visiting today, they're not really abandoned, and if they are, like the Golden Corral that I saw earlier, it's still left in a really nice state. I noticed that Shelbyville really cleans up their area and makes it look nice. So yeah, that was, unfortunately, there's not much like exploring of these locations to do, but I do have one more location that I can actually explore for you guys. So you and me, let's go explore this one together. And it's actually right over here. That's right, guys, we have a Big Lots store here, not too far away from what was the Sears hometown store. But before this was a Big Lots, now don't get me wrong, it being a Big Lots is pretty cool in its own, but I actually find what it used to be before Big Lots really cool. This actually used to be a Kmart. Back in the 80s, this was one of the old 80s Kmart locations, and when I was doing my research, I actually found an old video of it kind of briefly being shown in the 80s as a Kmart. Take a look at this video. Wow, that is just so cool. And yeah, that version of Kmart back in the 80s looked extra cool, or extra special, and obviously I wasn't around in the 80s, so I didn't get the experience of walking around a Kmart in the 80s. I was more grown up in the 2000s era, but I remember even in the 2000s Kmart had its own charm to it. But a lot of people talk about how Kmart was already dying in the 2000s, and its really hustling and bustling era was the 80s. So this is really cool to see one of those really vintage Kmart locations. It actually turned into a Big Lots, and then we know what happened with Big Lots. So let's see if we can see through the windows and see what we can find. They got a Big Lots cart return right here. And then here is the entrance. Wow, I could just imagine when this was a Kmart. My imagination is running wild right now. Here's some Big Lots decals on the door here. Deals on furniture, food, decor, and more. And Kmart had all that stuff too. So very interesting. All right, let's take a look inside this window here. Gutted. As expected. Looks like there's some kind of shelving right here. Can't really read that on the camera. I see there's a Big Lots right there. That's pretty cool. Actually, let me show you if I can get it. There's a right there. That's a checkout marker here. Looks like it was the exclamation point on the Big Lots sign. This is where the cashier would ring you out. There's a phone. Looks like they left quite a few things in here. No cashier, but they still got some of the bags. Let's see that. Oh yeah, there you go. Some of the Big Lots bags still sitting in there. Wow, that's so cool. Oh, check that out. Big Lots shopping basket. All right, then this is what I like to see. This is so cool. Always makes you wonder why they leave some stuff in there. I guess they got the majority of the stuff out and they're like, all right, a few things we're just gonna leave because who cares, right? So, man, imagine walking in these doors when this was a Kmart. It's got that vintage feel to it, right? Of the sliding doors into the sliding doors. Here's the entrance right there. And then that's the main store, which is basically all gutted. What's that say? Hey, beautiful. They're talking to you, viewer. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Quick Bites. Okay, so that was the grocery area. Live big, save lots. Snacks and such. Oh man, and I'm starting to lose focus here. Oh, wait. There we go. Keep it clean. They left a lot of the stuff up on the walls. That's very cool. I like that. Well, we're gonna go ahead and walk around back here and see if we can find anything left over from Big Lots. I really doubt Kmart's gonna have anything left over here since they've been gone since, I'm gonna guess, late 80s, early 90s. Maybe they stayed open later than that. There's a football, so we got that. I'm not kidding, there's a football right here. But I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that be. All right, we got the back here, and it looks like we got the dock area. All right, so I can imagine why Big Lots took over. I mean, Big Lots and Kmart have a lot of overlap on the things they sell, so they could reuse a lot of the equipment that they already had here. Here's some fluorescent lights. All broken, very sharp, so don't touch those. There's a customer pickup sign right here, so this is where they would bring out the furniture and appliances. You would drive around back to pick up what you purchased. And a lot of boxes on the ground, but I'm seeing U-Haul and Home Depot. Nothing relevant to what this location was. I think this is where the chute was for the old trash compactor that would have sat right here. If I am to guess, this is where the trash would come out. One of those buildings that instead of just having an open dumpster, they have a whole compactor in the back. Toys R Us did that a lot too. They got one more entrance over here, so we'll go ahead and take a peek real quick and see if we can see anything. So this looks like this might have been an employee. Uh-oh. That is very telling of Kmart. Kmart had these vent systems up on the ceiling, and I know there's like Kmart enthusiasts who collect Kmart stuff, and I remember seeing a picture of somebody who had one of these just in their collection. So that's pretty cool. As far as Big Lots goes, looks like they left some things over here, but for the majority, this has been all emptied out. So it looks like just some trash left over right here. Still cool to see. And now we're over here on the other side of Big Kmart lots. You see what I did there? Big K. Although this was never a Big K, that was later. Maybe it was a, I don't know. Maybe it was a Big K, I don't know. I only know so much about these places I come and visit, so don't get me if I have something wrong, okay? We're gonna check in the windows here at this side. I do see some more Big Lots stuff here. So more decals up on the walls. Just a big empty space, but you can see where the aisles were at one point in time. There's always this counter in the middle of all Big Lots because I think that was where their furniture was, and that's where the person who sold the furniture worked on the computer. That's it. They left all the Big Lots decals up on the wall, but it's no longer one. And hey, check this out. There's another one of those giant vents up on the ceiling. Very telling. They still have a Big Lots curbside pickup sign right here in the parking lot. I imagine that's just gonna be trashed when somebody takes this building over. But then, of course, also these parking lot lights. I see these kind of lights at almost every Kmart location I go to, so I gotta sit here and imagine that these are Kmart specific lighting fixtures. But that is it, guys, for Shelbyville. That was quite a few interesting locations. Not many that I could explore, but this one was the holy grail of it all, and I really enjoyed exploring this one. Kind of cool 2-in-1 deal with Kmart and Big Lots. So, and there was a little remnants of both here, which I thought was really cool too. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. It's funny, as I was walking around the building, an old couple pulled up and asked if I was a leasing agent documenting the building, but I just told them no, I was documenting it because, you know, I like dead retail and it used to be a Kmart, and they said they remember when it used to be a Kmart. Pretty cool. I wish I could have seen it in the 80s. So anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I always enjoy visiting dead retail locations, and none the different this time here in Shelbyville. You guys have a really cool town here, very nice and neat, and excited to see what this ends up becoming. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out my website, TayJayProductions.com, for merch if you want some TayJay Productions merch. And also, make sure to look down in the description of my video below where I do have a link for 80stees.com. You guys like 80s stuff, there's a lot of t-shirts you can get with old 80s logos. So, alright guys, until the next one, thanks for watching.